going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is a review for Monday Night Raw. And this is for 4/15/19. And I gotta say, man, last week's Raw after WrestleMania was really just bad in a lot of ways. It was really lacking. I was not a fan of it. And so I don't know how interested I was really coming into this week because WWE is just getting stale, man. It's just like completely stale. So you start the show, you've got Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon. Of course, you're going to start with the two heel authority figures that they said they were going to do away with. And, stale gimmick. So I wasn't very interested. The first person they bring over in this Superstar Shake-up is The Miz. He runs into the ring as soon as his music hits and goes right after Shane McMahon. And it was kind of cool because Miz has got this really aggressive side to him lately that I really like. He sells it pretty well. And somewhere in the scuffle that kind of went out of the ring and back into the ring with Miz and Shane McMahon, Miz got his head busted open and it gave it some really good color. So I actually thought it was a really good intro for him into Raw because it just made it look cool. Anytime you can have natural blood flowing like that, since they don't bleed on purpose anymore, it's always good. So I liked that segment almost situationally. And then you get Aleister Black and Ricochet come to the ring, and then you find out it's those two plus Hawkins and Ryder versus the Revival and the War Raiders, except they've been rebranded as the Viking Experience, and this has Vince McMahon written all over it. It was the dumbest fucking thing I'd heard of. I instantly went to Twitter to say something about it, and everybody instantly was like, who in the hell thought of calling the War Raiders the Viking Experience? It was stupid. Just a dumb decision. Nobody likes it. Everybody's saying, no, they're still the War Raiders to us. I don't know who thought of that, but it was just bad. This rebranding, it's the worst rebranding I've seen in years. The match itself was good, though. The match itself was definitely entertaining. And honestly, throughout the night, a lot of these matches were pretty damn good. But you just, I think that just set a tone that people just expected to be disappointed at this point. And it was just really bad. So the match was good. You wind up with the Revival and the Vikings Experience winning, the War Raiders. And the War Raiders were the ones who got the win on, I think it was Zack Ryder. So they pinned one half of the champion, so maybe we're going to have something going there in the very near future. And then the next thing you have is Finn Balor, and he's scheduled to take on a newcomer from SmackDown. Turns out to be Andrade Cien Almas, and this was a really good match. Andrade is just so damn good. I think so far an underused people in WWE, I honestly think even though he's been used, he's got to be considered underused because he's so damn talented. He makes every match he's in look good. Rey Mysterio was an excellent match. Some of the stuff he did in this match was just crazy talented. So, yeah, dude, I think Andrade should be doing something big here soon. He did get the win over Finn Balor with some help from Zelina Vega, but whatever. And one thing I do want to point out is Aleister Black is married to Zelina Vega, and it looks like Aleister Black and Ricochet are on Raw, so it looks like they're bringing couples together. But one thing, Ricochet comes out and Michael Cole's like, oh my god, is he on Raw? This is the Superstar Shake-up, so if they're on Raw, they should be on fucking Raw. If they're not, then WWE's screwing up again. But sometimes Michael Cole can be very good on commentary. Sometimes he just comes across as a corporate stooge and sounds ridiculous. And that's just what it is. And I understand sometimes that is the people behind the headphones for Michael Cole. But geez, man. Really bad. So then Elias, he's in the ring after that. Oh, and Andrade won that match. I think I said that, but just in case not, Andrade does get the win there. But the next segment is Elias in the ring, and he says, the next person who shows it up or interrupts me or whatever he says, won't be able to show his face, and I instantly knew it was going to be Rey Mysterio. So Rey Mysterio comes down, they have a bit of a fight, Rey Mysterio standing tall. Then Lars Sullivan's music hits, he comes down, does his Lars Sullivan thing, hits a couple of moves on Rey Mysterio after Rey Mysterio fought back for a while. And I'm still worried about this push with Lars, just because I want him to be there and be mentally healthy if they're going to push him, and that's a big thing. So Rude and Gable have the next segment. They call out the next tag team that's going to come over from SmackDown. And I was wondering if it was going to be the Usos or not. I didn't really think they were going to do that since they were the champs, but nope, here come the Usos. So the Usos, I guess they just gave up the belts on SmackDown, and they come down, they beat Rude and Gable in convincing fashion. Really good match though. Gable, his mat technicality I think is really good and really adds something to a lot of the matches. And the Usos are just pretty damn awesome, so it was a good match. So far we've had 3 good matches to start out. The first 3 matches on Raw were pretty damn good. Then you get a moment of bliss with Sami Zayn, and they're in Montreal, so he he kind of panders to the crowd for a few minutes. The music hits like 3 or 4 times, and then he starts talking in French to them. Of course, I don't know what they're saying. And then he does his heel shift, where he just starts dogging out, Montreal and the people and all this, and just kind of like leaves it at, I'll see you all in hell or something to that extent, and walks back. So definitely working on his heel gimmick. The next thing you see is the Iconics, which I do not care about at all. I cannot stand these two, especially since winning the tag belts, because I think it's an insult to Bayley and Sasha Banks. And they're taking on Bayley, who does not seem to be very happy at all, and Naomi, who has also come over from SmackDown. Bayley and Naomi get the win, and I'm not going to concentrate on the match. What I am going to concentrate on is, at one point, Corey Graves makes a comment about Sasha Banks losing her ball and going home. And I think that's a very unfair comment, because yes, she did go home. She has plainly said she is not coming back to WWE. I don't blame her. I can't blame her. She is one of the most underused, misused people in all of WWE. She has missteps at times, and I think there are fewer than a lot of people, but yes, they are there. But that's also because she goes out there and tries to put on a damn good show and tries to do maneuvers that are crazy and insane and eye-popping, and she really works at her craft, and she's a fan of wrestling, and she hates how she's being used, and she hates broken promises. Apparently, Bayley and Sasha were told they were going to have the tag team belts for quite some time to try to build them up. And instead, they lose them in short order to these two goofs, the Iconics. So, I don't blame Sasha for being pissed off, for leaving, for not wanting to be around. She wants out of her contract, apparently, and WWE doesn't want to let her out of her contract. But she might, she might force feed them. And I hope she does. I really do, because she deserves better than what she's getting. So, after that, you get EC3. He's in what's supposed to be a match, but it's Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman comes out, just attacks him. Just destroys him, too, all the way up the ramp, and then choke slams him onto some tables off of the ramp. So, they're destroying EC3 before he gets any kind of build at all. Then you get Becky Lynch versus Ruby Riott. I was kind of sidetracked during this match, so I didn't see exactly how good it was. The parts I saw, it was like, okay, nothing really stood out to me. It was a match. And that's really all I can say about it. I didn't see anything that really caught my eye as far as like, it's a really good match. Becky Lynch wins. The Riott Squad are out there with Ruby Riott. They come in the ring afterwards. Becky Lynch takes care of all of them. Just before you cut to commercial, Charlie starts an interview with Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre. They're going to be facing Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and a mystery partner at the end of the night. And nothing really of importance there. They're just, saying what they've done. Corbin talking about beating Kurt. Drew saying he's not finished with Roman. So nothing really exemplary there. Then Natalya comes out, does a promo with Becky Lynch. You know, she wants a shot at the title. Becky Lynch would be honored, but then Lacey Evans comes out, says that she's wormed her way into a match with Natalya, and whoever wins that match is going to be the next in line for the Raw Women's Championship. So it's the match between Evans and Natalya, and Evans, I hate the build-up that she's had. I think that they've done everything wrong with her, and for the first match that I've really seen her in, other than the Royal Rumble, she seems very stiff. Like, she's tall and she's strong, but she's lanky and awkward, and sometimes it comes off as awkward. She does have a pretty cool moonsault, but even that looks stiff. I mean, she does it, but it definitely looks stiff. So at the end of the day, you kind of knew they were going to give it to Evans. I mean, Natalya is the one kind of go-to, I think, in the women's division to make people look good consistently, because Natalya is that damn good. But that being said, maybe they should just give the fucking title shot to Natalya. I mean, let Evans work her way up a little bit. Then Charlie interviews Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins backstage, and she's trying to figure out who the mystery partner is. They give her nothing. And then that brings on the match. Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and the mystery partner, AJ Styles, coming over from SmackDown. So the house that AJ Styles built on SmackDown is transitioning, apparently. It's funny because AJ Styles can work with a lot of people, but Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin in here were just awkward, and like AJ was doing everything he can, but you can tell these guys were so limited that he was limited by them, and so it really took the match down quite a bit. And so I'll just fast forward to, at the end of the day, Reigns, Rollins, and AJ Styles stood tall in the middle of the ring, and that's where they cut to credits. Overall, I really like the matches. I like some of the surprises. So they brought over the Usos, which I thought was big. They brought over AJ Styles. That's pretty big. Iconics, I could care less about. Naomi's really good, though. She's an addition to any women's roster. The only thing I had a huge problem with was the rebranding of the War Raiders. I thought that was just terrible. And of course, that's what they start the show with. It didn't destroy the show for me, but it just set a tone that was like, you just expect bad things from there. Thankfully, it wasn't a terrible show, though. They had some good matches, and I think actually they had a couple of really good matches. The first three I was highly entertained with. The honestly 3 or 4 after that were mediocre at best. So good start, kind of a slow finish, and I think the last match was only bad. I won't say bad, but it was lessened by the inability of Corbin and Lashley to really be fluid in the ring. They're strong, they're stiff, they can barely move sometimes, though. And when it comes to somebody like AJ Styles, they don't know what to do. They just don't. So overall, I mean, I feel like it would normally be like I'd cut it right down the middle, give it a 5 out of 10. But because of the rebranding of the War Raiders and like the couple other things they did there with the Iconics now, I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Just because they've been doing so bad lately, and I think they should have really tried to kill it. And when you start off with something that just horrible, I mean, you're making a mistake. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with 4 out of 10 because I really feel like even though it did have some highlights, it was still suffering from a lot of the big problems that WWE has. So that's where I'm at. 4 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation, out.